Hey guys, it's Scott here from SCQ Sportfishing, Estuary and Dam Charters, and obviously our new segment we're doing every Thursday is a Thursday Tech Tip. So this is some of the stuff that basically I've picked up on the charters over the last few years that I find a lot of people do wrong and then basically always trying to educate them through the charter, but I thought we'd do a video every Thursday just in regards to showing people just the little things that make a difference to lure fishing. And it could be something so simple, but it makes a big difference in the long run. So what we'll talk about today is something that really kind of gets on my nerves a fair bit, because I know how much difference it can make. And usually 90% of people do it, and a lot of my clients do it until I educate them and tell them that this is how you should do it and why you shouldn't do it. So basically one thing is that a lot of people spend money on a good rod. These are atomic arrow rods that we use on the charter, as well as the LOX rods. And some of these rods can vary between $160 to $500. So rods are a really important factor to lure fishing. And one thing that I find that people really make a mistake on is where they put their lure when they're traveling in the boat or the kayak. So your jig head, your lure, your hook, obviously, where do you place that? There are a few rods that do have little nooks on the side here where you can put your lure on as you're going along. You can actually buy little clips as well if you wanted to. But most rods don't have that. So one thing I teach people to do is to actually, if you've got a hard body for treble or a jig head or whatever, any kind of hook, is never to put your hook into the guide like that, okay? That is one thing that most people do. I come back to the boat ramp here on a daily basis and you can see people have got their hooks and their guides, and that's just drives me nuts, because what can happen is that these guides here are super important to your fishing line. We've got to run pretty light line. Even running heavy line does make a difference. That is where your line is rubbing through. This guide here is where you want to keep care of that area on every single guide on your rod. So what happens is that a lot of people put their hook, their jig head, put it onto that like so, okay? And when you imagine being in the boat, moving around, driving back in, or a kayak, it actually rubs like this. And it can actually put a crevice, makes that all rough in time, puts a little crater in that. Murphy's Law, if you've got a big fish on, what happens is that basically if you hook a big fish, if something can go wrong, will go wrong. So what can happen is that the line can actually rub, obviously pull through that guide on a big fish, and actually can snap your line clean off. So that's the thing you got to kind of be really careful of. What I recommend to do, and this is what I've always done, is you got little triangle shape there, is to put your rods, put your hooks and your trebles inside like that. Wind them tight, and always make sure that it just sits there nicely for you, just like that. You can see there, it's not wrecking your guide, it's nowhere near your guide, and that will stop any issue you have. So little things like that make a big difference, and especially when you've got that big fish on, that's the difference it can make between catching it and losing it. So that's our Thursday Tech Tip, guys. We do one each week on the little things on fishing, and yeah, just to keep you guys informed and hopefully catch more fish.